That is the opening to Pitch Perfect. No, it's not the opening to Pitch Perfect. That is the a cappella opening of Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone. And I'm allowed to sing that on this platform of the Twitch. I'm going to start calling it the Twitch. Hello, everybody. I am Allie Ramirez, and this is Please Talk to Me with Allie Ramirez. I am here to basically talk to you. You're welcome to come on and be my guest. I love a good guest. I'm going to get the information from the chat room right now. I have two computers, and two computers is weird because I always pick the wrong mouse when I'm working on this. I know, technology. That's what's crazy about 2020 into 2021. All the extra technology that I've had to learn and deal with, and just all that good stuff. But I'm here. This is Please Talk to Me with Allie Ramirez. I've said that 3 times now, so now you know. And let's talk. Whatever you want to talk about. I have a couple ideas in mind, but of course I'm always happy to hear what you have to say or what questions. I'm on a Zoom meeting right now, so you're welcome to join me. I'm going to put the information in the chat if you would like to join. And again, you can join if you want. You can also just ask me questions if that's where you want to go. A lot of things happening this week. Some good, some bad, some personal. I'm going to start it off with the biggest thing this week was that indoor dining is back. I live in Southern California. I live in California, and indoor dining opened up today. And it's, I think it's 25% is what is allowed for the indoor dining, but it's there. And I know that because I drove by in my local Denny's. We all have a local Denny's. Let's get that clear. There's nothing wrong with Denny's. I love Denny's. Hungover, sober, after a show, if you do theater, Denny's is open and Denny's is there for me. And Denny's, the thing I love about Denny's is how honest Denny's is. Denny's doesn't pretend to be anything it's not. It's like, oh, is it after midnight? Here's the $2, $4, $6 menu. It's okay. You want to get those pancakes for $2? No judgment. Welcome to Denny's. That's what I love about Denny's. It's like that friend in high school that never judged. Well, I don't know if you had that, but Denny's is a good friend. They don't judge you. They love you. And usually they have fantastic wait staff. I always try to tip very well at Denny's because I'm sure that's a very hard shift, the night shift at a Denny's. Even if it's a Friday night, I'm sure it's still insane. Speaking of which, there's a Denny's on Sunset. I think it's Sunset. Maybe it's on Hollywood. There's definitely a 24-hour Denny's in the heart, near Hollywood and Highland, in Hollywood. That was the craziest Denny's I've ever been to. I remember our waiter spoke fluent German. He looked like a J. Crew model, clearly an actor, and this was just one of his jobs. And his twin brother also worked at Denny's and worked at another side of the room. And they looked exact, except I think one had bleached their hair. Yeah, Denny's. I don't know how to join with that. Would you say anything? Oh, I could oh my God, Lester Pips. Oh, I would love to hang out with you, Lester Pips. I can totally send a link to Ezra. I can do that. I know how to technology. Look at me. Just like one of the big kids. Just like a big kid. Oh man, my browser. What's going on with my browser, man? I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm sorry. I just watched Pitch Perfect again. It's the Anna Kendrick movie with Rebel Wilson, Brittany Snow. There's the third girl. Her name is. It's not Anna Faris, though I would watch that. I'm getting distracted. But Denny's, I love Denny's. Indoor dining is back. Fuel 198. Remind me, Fuel 198. Fuel 198, are you my reading glasses? If you're my reading glasses person, I owe you an apology. But you have to. It is the reading glasses challenge. Oh, man. So, in all honesty, I did not have a show the following week that we had talked because, and I don't want to bring the room down, but in honesty, my grandma passed away. She was a very old lady, a very stubborn woman, Mexican Catholic to the core. I didn't call her abuela, so that wasn't something we did. But she's my abuela, but she passed away, and literally that night, and as I was driving home, I was like, maybe I don't do a show because I just might start crying. I mean, I'm sure that makes for good YouTubes or TikToks. But it just didn't seem appropriate because I didn't want to come on and not talk about it. But I also didn't want to come on and just overly talk about it because that, again, that's not a good time. I mean, I guess it could be. We should talk about grieving. There's definitely a lot of grieving in this. There's grieving in life, right? Birth, death, it's part of the circle of life. Thank you, Mufasa. But yeah, grieving is a wild beast because you truly don't know how it's gonna lead you, what path is gonna lead you. I'm looking for a person. I'm looking for the thing. Great. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do another thing. I'm going to do this other thing. So restaurants are open right now at 25% in the state of California. I don't know if that's different for everybody. Obviously, it's different for everybody. I'm not jumping into a restaurant quite yet, but I will continue to do to go and order for pickup. Not that I don't want to sit down at Islands. I like Islands. I'm just throwing out franchise names. But I can hold off. There's definitely other people who probably want to get food first or that's more of a priority for them. So let's see. I don't have great information. So if you're just joining us, we're talking about what's happened this week. So restaurants have opened up. I believe it's restaurants have opened up. I heard movie theaters are opening up soon. Obviously spas and hair salons. And then the big announcement, Disneyland is opening at the end of April, which is very cool. Oh, look, I got a person. I didn't mean to sound like I'm fishing or I'm capturing. I have a guest, and let me get this person in. I'm admitting this in. I think I know who this is, but I just want to make sure. Let's see. Oh man, I love it when I design things and then OBS. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, you don't want to do that? Okay. Oh, I'm gonna give it a second. Aha! Hey!
I'm using my publicist Zoom account here. I don't know how to change my name.
I know it was complicated. I know it's complicated. I know it's
yeah, Allie, good to see you. I didn't tell you that I changed my showtime to right before your show.
Yeah, well, I saw, Lester, that you had changed your showtime, but when I checked the schedule today, it wasn't updated on the Twitch, and I'm like, I don't know. Because I didn't want to say, yes, it's there, and then you not be there, because I don't know your life. You're busy.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there every week.
You know?
I don't take a single week off. In fact, it's been rumored that I only exist during the hour that the show is on.
I mean,
which is crazy.
That's crazy.
But I think it might be true. Because I can't think of a single thing that happens in my whole life other than when I'm on the show.
Hey, but that shows it. For those who don't know, this is Lester Pips. Lester Pips has Apocalypse Tips with Lester Pips at the new time at Thursdays at 9 p.m. right here on the PAC Theater, and you just have always a slew of guests, just people with the best information.
Oh yeah, it's such a fun time. It's just like. Listen, we don't have to focus too much on me, but I'll just say who I am real quick. Before all the apocalypse stuff, all this COVID's up in the air, I was going around talking to a bunch of folks at any kind of open microphone situation I could get my hands on.
Really?
To let them know that the apocalypse was coming. Of course, this was mostly at comedy stand-up open mics because that's where the open mics are.
Wait, Lester, you were doing this pre-COVID?
Oh, yeah. I would go around to any open microphone situation and say, hey, apocalypse is coming. We got to get ready. And then when COVID was up in the air, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna get everybody who's ever signed up for my email list to come on to a show and talk to folks about how they can survive, And
You
that's what we've been doing,
you were literally ahead of the curve. Ahead
you
of
know.
now.
Well, you see, I survived Hurricane Katrina in 2005 and became an adult, and realized at that moment, like, now that I'm an adult, I have to make sure that something like that never happens again.
Yeah.
We gotta prepare for these apocalypses. I'm from Louisiana.
I gathered that because of Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
Now, so I guess obviously once COVID ends and open mics and theaters, you're just gonna keep on going because obviously you know so much now,
That's
so
the plan,
knowledgeable.
I don't think that, when COVID ends, that's not the end of apocalypses, okay? We could still have, like, zombies, right? We
Yeah.
could still have a nuclear problem. We could still have the X-Men supervillain apocalypse come down from the skies and say, hey, I'm going to eat the whole Earth. So we got to watch out.
I think that last one is a there's a smaller chance, but it could happen. It
You
could
got to
happen.
plan for every possible eventuality. That's what I would say.
Can you tell me if you had to give me like your top two like things that I should have in my house? Like what is that?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So the most important thing you got to think about when you're thinking about how to prepare for an apocalypse is
Okay.
what's the most important thing to me, right?
Oh.
What do I want to make sure gets preserved into the future in case there is a post-apocalyptic scenario where humanity has to restart, right?
Okay.
And of course, for me, that is Louisiana culture, and therefore, I am doing everything I can to get the recipe and all necessary ingredients to Popeye's Louisiana Cajun spicy chicken strips. And that's just me. That's what I'm trying to make sure makes it to the future.
Priorities.
So we got to identify what that is, and I sure hope it is them Popeye's Louisiana Cajun spicy chicken strips.
Yeah. No, okay, that's number one. That's number one. And then what would the second thing be? Or they
Oh, number two, yeah, great question. Number two, you got to make sure there's water in your bunker. Okay,
Oh.
if you don't have water in your bunker, you're gonna get real thirsty.
That's
And
true.
when you get thirsty, it's harder to eat them spicy chicken strips.
You know what? That is solid advice. I'm gonna tell you a secret.
Please.
I've never had Popeyes. I've never.
Oh wow.
And I think they're in Southern California, but there's not.
For sure,
very-
yeah. I've
yeah.
called
There's not
every
many.
single one in the California area at different times asking for the recipe.
And
There's a
no.
bunch of them in California. There's one right on Hollywood and Vine,
Okay.
and that one's a real popular with my publicist Ezra Potter.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to. There's a Popeye right in Hollywood. Okay, I guess I'll have to. And I like chicken. Like I'm not against going to Popeyes. I've never like.
Yeah, no, I mean the uninitiated. See that this is the thing. My audience is either people who understand how important this is or people who come to question me.
Right.
And the people who come to question me, well, they haven't tried it yet, And so I'm glad you haven't questioned me.
Okay.
I appreciate your candor and your the way that you conduct conversations.
Well,
but I do think you should try it.
You know what? You are an expert. I mean, you're handing out apocalypse tips, and clearly you survived much more than just COVID. You've survived so much, so I have no reason to doubt
Katrina,
you.
SARS.
Yeah, SARS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was at the forefront of the SARS epidemic. I almost got it, but then I dug a hole in the ground in China and lived under the ground for a long time.
Really?
That's what gave me the idea for the bunker.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So I mean, I have so many questions, but I don't want to take up all of your time. I have another guest in line. Thank you for waiting, guest. So I guess two great advice: water, and then find out that thing that matters to you. For you, it's Popeyes.
Well, I'm curious. Before I go, if you don't mind, what is the thing that would matter to you?
Oh, that's a good question. Man, you know what? It's very cheesy. It's a very cheesy thing. And now that I say it and think about it, it might not even be important. But I have, and this is real. I have a folder, like a little folder, a little tie strap thing that has like birth certificates and passports and like basically like all those like really important documents.
Yeah.
I have it, and it's right by my bedside in case honestly, if there was a fire, I could just grab it because I really hate having to get new paperwork and like go to the DMV. Like it's such a pain in the butt to get new licenses and stuff. So that's
Absolutely. Having to deal with bureaucracy is like the biggest headache in the world.
it's so terrible. And I mean, I guess in an apocalypse that would all be gone, so it wouldn't be necessary. But that's what I thought right off the bat. Like, well, I gotta get my folder because
No, that's smart. You know, you got to make sure you have that stuff in case in the post-apocalypse, it is a situation where the post-apocalypse is actually a bureaucratic government taking over.
right.
Like that could be an apocalypse, could be bad bureaucracy.
Right, and I want them to identify me correctly by social
That's right.
security number and passport.
Yeah, you're concerned about your own legacy, which I appreciate, and I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Thank you so much. Well, Lester, thank you so much for coming on. I know you hustle, you're working, you're getting those tips out, and I appreciate you spending an extra 15 minutes to say hello and check in. So thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad to be sharing the Thursday evenings with you.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it. So,
All right.
ladies.
Enjoy the rest of your show. I'll let
Thank
you get on to
you
your
so
next guest.
much,
Thanks for having me.
ladies and
Bye,
gentlemen.
everybody.
Lester Pimps at Thursdays at 9 p.m. on the Pack Theater. Thank you so much. Oh man, I like that Lester. He's great. But really, very, very fun show. If you haven't checked it out at 9 p.m. I have another guest about to come in. I hope he has his pants on. I'm sorry. I just said that because last time he was putting on his pants. But maybe he has them on now. Oh, pants!
Oh, I got pants. Oh, don't you worry.
Good. I like it.
I got pants.
I like it. Oh! Are those sweats? Got a drawstring? That's nice. Those are comfy. Are those cotton? Is that cotton? Is that Egyptian cotton?
I have still never ever done a Zoom call without pants. I've never done it.
I've done.
Don't lie to me.
No. I was going
Don't
to
you
say.
lie to me, Ali Ramirez.
I've done non-camera Zoom calls in my pajamas and robe, but I still had pants on. So I don't think I've done it without pants. Yeah, I like pants. I'm
How did
always
you get
cold.
away with not being on camera?
Oh, because at my work, because I work in an office and they don't need to see my face. I can just talk. It's fine. Yeah, it's because if I wanted to, I could do the meetings on my laptop with the camera. But if I just do it on my PC, there's no camera, and it's a bunch of sales reps. They don't need to see my face. Like, it's fine. They just want me to say important words like, we need to collect that interim rent. Make sure the prorated payment is about 3% less than the financed amount. That's all they need to hear. I work in finance.
I'm really more of an accounts man
Got
than
it.
a sales person.
That's fair.
Really more of an accounts guy. You know, you call me when it's time to schmooze the client.
Yeah. Hey, that's a skill. That's a skill.
You need someone to take them out to Musso, you know. Need someone to take them to.
They're now open.
To Kate Mantalini or something.
Open.
You know,
all open.
I'll wine. I'll dine. Whatever you need. I'll get that sale done.
Get it done. How are you, Gil? How are you?
All right.
What a week.
Stressful week. It's show week.
Yeah, I saw.
I like doing back-to-back weeks with you because
nice.
you know I get to promote one thing and I get to promote the other thing.
Gosh, and then is next week like your week not off, but like because it's like the first week of the cycle, like not of the
it's the first week of the cycle.
Right,
so it's
right.
Right. So I'm gonna finish this week.
Right.
Our host is Ari Stidham from the show Scorpion.
What a fun show! I love that show.
I love that show so much.
Was it 2 seasons or just 1 season?
You know who our guest is?
Yes, I saw. I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's adorable.
Tina Majorino.
Yep.
From Napoleon Dynamite.
She's so good in Napoleon Dynamite.
From Waterworld.
Yep.
From Andre remember with the seal?
Oh yeah, wasn't she also? I was thinking she was in
Karina with Whoopi Goldberg.
Yep.
So Tina was in a million movies in the 90s, right?
Yeah, she really was. She was fantastic.
the working child actor. Like, it was like her and Mara Wilson were like the two.
Yes. Oh my goodness. She also looks
Exactly
the same. Like,
yeah.
I mean, she looks older, but exactly the same. Like,
crazy how that works.
But I feel like if I look at my kid photos, I don't look exactly the same. I just look like...
You look exactly the same.
What? You know what was also interesting? My son looks exactly like me. Like, if you look at photos of me as a little girl, you're like, you're not a little girl. You're a cute little boy. You just didn't know it. Because my son is like, that's me. Like, that's just me.
I know you're not going to enjoy this compliment, but your brother looks exactly like you too.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I've been told that we make a lot of the same faces. Like, spot on faces.
Can I tell you a true story?
Tell me a true story. I'm going to look up your late night tonight.
Yeah. So, my dad grew up in Poland.
Okay.
Right after the war. Like, he was born 46. You know, World War II ended 45.
Yeah. Of course I know that.
I mean, it's fairly common knowledge.
I'm not good with dates. Like, I'm like, I know the market crashed around 29-ish. Like, you know.
Okay. My dad was born right after World War II in Poland, and his father died when he was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
His father was an older guy. He had a family before the war who died in the Holocaust.
Oh.
And my grandmother was his second wife, and my father was his, second family.
Got it.
So one of his original sons had survived.
Okay.
And he was like 25, 30, at that time. His name was Arthur, and when my grandfather remarried, Arthur just kind of didn't want to have anything to do with them. They had all survived. He had survived the war. He had a wife. He had a kid, and just didn't want anything to do with this new family.
Yeah.
But they lived in the same town.
Okay.
And my dad went to preschool and like kindergarten with his own niece.
Okay.
And didn't know it.
Okay.
Like they were in the same class, but he had no idea they were related.
Okay.
So his own brother was coming to like pick up his daughter.
Yeah.
And would see his younger baby brother in the yard and just not say anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So my dad's father dies when he's 5 years old.
Right.
And he grows up in Poland until he's about 14, and then he escapes. He escapes from communist Poland when he's 14 on his own. Goes to Paris for a year and then to New York where he has some family.
Jesus. Like
so in his 20s, so he's living in New York during all this time. And by his 20s, he starts to hear, stories about a brother that he has. He's like, wait a minute, I have a brother. I have an older brother.
Yeah.
And, and he, like, goes through a whole investigation. Who knows anything about this Arthur? Who is he? Who is this guy? And he eventually finds out that he emigrated to Israel, right? A lot of Soviet Jews went to Israel, especially after the war. So he was raising his family in Israel. And by the time my dad is 29, 30-ish, he decides to go to Israel to find him.
Wow.
And he goes to Israel to find his brother. And he has a cousin who's there that he knows about. And that cousin is like, I'm working on getting you and him together. I'm working on making connection between you two. I don't have time to take you around and show you all the sightseeing, but I have a friend. She'll take you around. And that friend ends up being my mom.
Oh my gosh.
So this friend, so she takes him around and she's showing him Jerusalem and Eilat and all of the places in Israel where people go to see. And, after a couple of days, he's like, oh, would you ever think about coming to the United States? And she said, yeah, I might if I was married. And they got engaged.
Wow.
After like a couple of days knowing each other.
Wow.
my dad calls into his cousin, what's going on with setting up this meeting with Arthur, and says he can meet with you today. You can meet him today. So the same day he gets engaged, he meets his long lost brother for the first and only time, or not for the only time,
But
for the first
time. Yeah.
For all he knows, it's going to be the only time. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
So he goes to meet his brother with his brand new fiance.
Right.
And I will tell you that from that day forward, my Uncle Arthur treated my father like he was his own son.
Oh.
Treated him like they were the closest of family. When he retired and got his pension, whatever the money that he got, he split his money between his two children and my father. That's how close they became. And, as a little baby, I had gone to Israel several times, and I knew him kind of as a grandfatherly figure or whatever, not that close to me because I was just a little boy.
Yeah.
But when I went there when I was 16, 17 years old, it was the first time leaving the country on my own, just like being on my own. And I went to see him, and it's something that I'd never noticed before, but you look this guy in the face, and he looked like my father wearing old man makeup. He looked like if my father was Eddie Murphy in the Clumps, like that's what he looked like. He looked like my father with a bald cap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the resemblance was so striking. The faces he made was exactly the same. The laugh was exactly the same. He didn't speak English, but I knew what he felt, what he was doing, because he had the exact same face as my dad. And a few years ago when we went to visit Poland, so Arthur now has been dead a long time.
Yeah.
When my parents and I went to Poland, and also my dad's cousin, Arthur's daughter and her daughter.
Okay.
We all went to Poland, so there were five
So
of us all on this trip. My father's cousin.
Your father's, so your second cousin.
Right, and the cousin's daughter.
Got it. Okay.
So there were five of us total on the trip.
Yeah.
And that daughter is a little older than I am, but roughly the same age.
Yeah.
And so, we were traveling all across Poland. We traveled from Warsaw to Krakow to the little village where he grew up. And throughout the trip, this is Arthur's daughter and granddaughter.
Yeah.
They are staring at my father this entire trip.
Oh.
Like, everything you do is our father. Everything you do is Arthur. So it's one of those things. And these people, they didn't meet each other until my dad was 29.
Right.
And so to the genetic thing of having the same behaviors, the same faces, the same laugh, the same everything, it's weird genetic memory.
Yeah, it's that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. That's a really, really beautiful story about I love how you threw in your parents' meeting. It's really cute. Yeah, but no, you're right. It's I was mentioning earlier that my grandma had passed away, and I went to go.
Recently?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. She passed away. Thank you. Yeah, and she was older, and so it wasn't.
You didn't have one of those younger grandmas?
I didn't have one of those younger grandmas.
You didn't have a grandma that you went to school with?
I did not go to school with my grandma, or my grandma's child. It didn't work out that way for me. But she lives with my uncle. And so I went to go give my respects and say goodbye. And when my uncle came out, and I haven't seen him obviously before COVID, and so it's been at least a year since I've seen him. He'd lost a lot of weight from getting COVID, and he looked like my grandpa, who had passed away 10 years ago. He looked like my grandpa, and it kind of I wasn't expecting it. It threw me off because I was like, oh my God, Uncle Danny, you. Because the same bones, the same structure, the same faces. And I never thought he looked like him before until now that he's just older and I haven't seen him in a while. So it's yeah, I agree. It's incredible. It's incredible what being related does. Yeah.
Yeah. You have these people out in the world that share a genetic memory to you,
Yeah.
and like there's such a tie to, an entire genealogy, an entire past. You don't do any of that Ancestry.com stuff, do you?
I don't, because I don't want them to have my blood, because I don't want them to make a clone
You
of
don't
me.
have to do the blood.
They're gonna
thing.
make
You
a
can
clone of me. I don't want them to make a clone of me.
I mean, the world could just use more Ali Ramirez.
I don't know if they can. It's a little crazy in here. Can you imagine? Can you? What was that? Oh no! What? Hi, Gil. I'm not a clone. I guess that's a robot. That would be a clone.
Yeah, that was just a robot.
Okay, I don't know how a clone
would be able to fool me.
I don't know. Anyways, we're here. I went ahead and put the link in the chat.
Thank you. But you don't have to give them your blood. You can just do the connections. Like, who's my cousin?
But I thought you had to give them the blood so you find out the connections.
You
No?
have the option. You don't have to.
Oh, I don't know. I
Also, by the way, I don't trust that our technology is quite there yet on the DNA thing.
That is where you're wrong, sir. Because
Yeah.
if they could, they wouldn't tell us.
I don't know.
Area
there's
51.
There's those stories
Area
of
51.
there's those stories
Area.
of triplets go and get their blood checked, and all three of them say they're from different areas of the world. I just don't think it's quite ready yet.
Oh, so it's not very accurate. Got it.
Not entirely accurate.
I don't know. I just not that I know where my family comes from. I don't know, but I know that my grandma was one of 11, and my grandpa was one of.
All 11? Do you know their names?
No, I don't. But I just found out that one of my grandma's older sisters, so she's like in her mid-90s, lives in like the city next to me. And she has like no kids and just lives by herself. And I'm so curious to go meet her because I've never met her before. And apparently my grandma like stopped talking to her years and years ago for whatever reason. And I just found out she's
It's families.
It's one of 11 siblings. It's my grandma was a very stubborn woman. It's fine. But now I really want to meet this woman because apparently she was obviously older and grew up with my grandma. But I just have to wait until I can safely go over there. But yeah, she lives like.
You made contact?
No. My mom made contact just to let her know what had happened, that my grandma had passed. And she thought she was living in Arizona. She was like, oh, I thought she used to have a house in this area, LA, and then moved to Arizona. So I was trying to get her Arizona address only to find out she moved back. Like she never sold the house and she's still in this house. And we didn't know that. And I was like, well, give me the address. And my mom was like, why? And I'm like, because I want to go see her. I don't know, give her flowers and just say hello. I don't know. I actually don't know what I'm going to say, but I just thought it would be respectful to just like, hey, I'm so-and-so's, granddaughter. Here's flowers. Can you tell me a story? I don't know. Can you tell me a story?
It's a weird thing to think about, but I think people of our generation, maybe it just comes from being raised on so much narrative and so many stories. I think we have so much more of a romantic view of other people. Like if you go and you visit this great aunt of yours, that she's going to embrace you in some way and whatever.
She's
like
gonna...
that story I just told you about my uncle. Like that's the fantasy, right?
Right.
Like, oh, of course they met and they embraced and they became so close.
Right.
Like,
she's gonna look at me. She's gonna go, oh, you remind me of my sister Lily, and
finally I can say to you all the things I never said to her.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's.
But
you know what it is?
Well could be like,
you know what it is? I know what it is.
Flowers.
I know what it is. It's the Snyder cut of my life. That's what it is. I want the Snyder cut of my life.
Have you watched?
No, I haven't. I just saw so many people posting about the Snyder cut, and I was like, well, this is important. It's for Justice League, right? Is that what the movie it is? No, I don't know. I don't know.
That's
the
best thing I've ever heard.
I don't know.
It's the Snyder cut. The Snyder cut of what? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's the Snyder Cut.
I'm-
The Snyder Cut of roast beef? Yeah, maybe.
Can I get the roast beef? Can I get the Snyder Cut,
Can I get the
please?
Snyder Cut? Thank you.
Hi,
Thank
can you just trim a little off the edges and give me the Snyder Cut?
Can I get the yeah, can I just get the Snyder Cut? Thank you very much. Do you remember?
Oh, gosh.
Do you remember the sketch I wrote for Past My Bedtime, like really early on? That was it was a parody of those Jim Beam commercials,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it was the Devil's Cut.
Yes. Yes.
Remember the Jim Beam, the Devil's Cut? So if people watching don't remember, and it looks like right now it's just the two of us, but that's okay. But the Devil's Cut was, they were like, some of the whiskey seeps into the wood, and we call that the Devil's Cut. We found a way to extract it.
It's a very funny sketch. I do remember that.
Jim Beam, the Devil's Cut. So I wrote a sketch that was, sometimes some of the whiskey will spill into the dirt. We found a way to extract it. This is Jim Beam, dirt.
Oh, yep. I have a terrible memory, but I remember that sketch because it was very funny. Because that
You
is
know
what the
what?
commercials are. They're ridiculous.
I think you might be offline.
No, I'm not.
You're not? Oh, maybe it was just
No.
my computer.
It's green. I see it. I see you. Oh, it's giving me a little caption issue detection. I don't know what that means. Anyways,
whatever.
Snyder Cut. I don't.
Yes, Justice
I don't know superhero movies. I don't. I really want to watch WandaVision, but I
You
have
haven't done
no.
the Marvel thing?
What?
You haven't done the Marvel movies thing?
No, because it's so big now. Like there's so many that I'm like overwhelmed by it.
You think it's too late?
I think it's too late. I started watching whichever is the one where they have to go back in time to get the rocks as if you're jumping into previous movies. Because my dad was watching it and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And I was like, I get it. This is very interesting. But I really don't want to watch everything up to this to make this make sense. Can it just make sense? But I feel like that's not the case with WandaVision. Like, you have to, like, know things,
You really
right?
do have to watch it to make sense.
Right.
But what's nice about the way Disney Plus does it is they have that Legends series that is just montages of everything you need to know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's like a 10-minute little webisode that's just like a montage of everything you need to know for those characters. So they have one for Wanda and for Vision, and so you watch those 20 minutes, you'll be prepped.
You'll be pretty
WandaVision.
good. Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot that you'll miss, but I mean, who cares?
But I watched the last season of Game of Thrones and I missed so much because I didn't know anything. And I enjoyed that season.
I
Enjoyed
don't
it.
understand you in any way.
I know, it's okay. I don't have time. I just gotta jump to the.
You jump to the end. Jump to the worst one.
I did. You were saying about Snyder Cut. But tell me what the Snyder Cut is for, though. What is everyone referencing?
Yes, it's for Justice League.
It is okay. Okay.
So, yeah. So for some reason, and this is the other comic book universe, right? It's not. It's not the Avengers. It's a different universe.
Right.
It's Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and those characters.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Which I didn't. I haven't seen any of those movies.
Right.
Anyway.
Well. So they, for some reason, when they decided to reboot, to make like a DC superhero universe, they decided to go with Zack Snyder, of all people, to be the architect of it. So he made a Superman movie, Man of Steel.
Okay.
Which is not terrible.
Is that the
Pretty
one with
good.
Amy Adams?
Then they made a sequel to that included Batman, and it was called Batman v Superman.
Okay, that's one with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like a court case, Batman v Superman.
Okay.
And then they made a Justice League movie, but Zack Snyder's daughter died during production.
Oh.
Yeah, she committed suicide.
Oh.
Yeah, really, really terrible.
Yeah, that is terrible.
So he left the project. Joss Whedon came on and finished it.
Okay.
But it was really an entire mess. Yeah. But honestly, Batman v Superman was terrible. Man of Steel, depending on who you ask, wasn't great either.
Right.
Okay, it's me. It's Gil.
Oh gosh. I thought you were a DC expert, and then you.
Same guy. Same
oh,
guy.
okay. Got it. I was so confused.
And so
Can't give that DNA,
but
man.
so Justice League was terrible, but it was like, yeah, of course it was terrible. These movies aren't that great.
Right. They weren't turning into it. We weren't like, oh God. It's
Right. Like, what happened to the quality?
right.
And it all looked like Zack Snyder stuff, right? Like it was all in slow motion with the sepia tone color and all the Zack Snyder things that are involved in that. So it wasn't great, but I guess he was like, my cut would have been different, and for years his fans were like, release the Snyder cut, release the director's version, cut out everything that Joss Whedon did, and only show the Zack Snyder parts. And finally,
he did that.
Once HBO Max became a thing, Warner Brothers was like, fine, we will give you the money to complete your version of this movie. And so they give him $70 million.
Hey. Jesus. Did they have to refilm things, or was it just?
Oh. Yeah, they reshot some stuff, as far as I know, and then he cut it together, and he released like a 4-hour thing that was released early this morning or last night, and so it's 4 hours. It's divided into chapters. You can watch it all as one thing, or you can watch it as episodes. So I skipped to the end just to see like how it kind of turned out, like if it was any different. And I looked at the ending and I hated it. I was like,
really?
ugh. I mean, I didn't like it in the first. Look, I don't like Zack Snyder's aesthetic. I think Zack Snyder is just he's just not my cup of tea. His whole aesthetic
That's fair.
Is just not my thing.
That's fair. I'm gonna remind myself.
It's super broy. It's super male gazy. It's super kind of fascistic. That's just kind of his thing.
When did the original movie come out?
Which original movie?
The Justice League. Like, when did that one come out?
Oh, I guess that was like 2017.
Okay, so I was curious how long it's been.
Yeah, it was a while. And between them, they released Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 2 and Shazam and Aquaman, right?
Oh man,
all those movies came out in the meantime, right?
So I'm looking up his IMDb page because I'm terrible with everything.
With directors,
everything, details, everything. And I do like the movie 300, which he directed. I do like that. I also like the movie Watchmen. I didn't like Sucker Punch. I did not like Sucker Punch
because it's bad.
It's bad, and it's just I don't know what it is.
Misogynistic.
Yes, it sure is. But I haven't any of these other ones. I have not seen. I've literally not seen. Those are the only 3 movies I've seen: Watchmen, 300, and Sucker Punch. And I did not like Sucker Punch.
So you can see like there's an aesthetic to it, though.
You can
see like there's a Zack Snyder thing, and that just doesn't jive with me. Like I just don't like it. It's not my thing.
Yep.
Even though, right now, I look like a Zack Snyder, screenshot right now. 'Cause I'm in, all gray and stuff.
You're wearing pants.
Can't say that, Zack Snyder.
Yeah, can't say that, Snacky. Sniders.
That guy's not wearing pants right now.
Nope. Wow.
So I skipped to the end. I was like, ugh, this is bleak as hell.
Yeah.
I'm not into it. But there's tons of comic book people online who are like, this is so good. So I decided to start it from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing when you texted me. I was like half an hour into it. And I was like, oh, this is still really dumb. And it's fine. It's allowed to be dumb. Sometimes things are dumb.
And again, obviously he needed to close this for him. Like this was obviously a wound that he needed to creatively close for his own soul, and I respect it.
Sure.
Similarly, yeah, I'll go with it. Disney Plus has a documentary on making Frozen 2. And I was like, I'll check this out.
Frozen 2 is a weird movie.
Yes. The documentary kind of tells you why it's a weird movie. Because it was supposed to be, originally, the movie, I'm guessing you've seen Frozen 2. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody because I don't like to spoil movies. Mainly
You
because
and I are the only ones watching.
Oh, good. Well, this will be on YouTube. They could watch this.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Great.
this will be
Love
on
it.
the
I love to
YouTube.
hear
So
it.
I don't want to
That's
spoil
great.
Frozen 2 for you. But on Frozen 2, basically the way the original script was because I think it's like 10-year difference from the first one, or 8-year difference.
Is that what
Basically,
it is? Okay.
so basically they
They
made a
look the same.
movie. It's something like that. I'm looking it up now. Basically they made a movie for the children. Okay, yeah, 10 years. So Frozen came out in 2010. Frozen 2 came out in 2019.
But how long is it for the characters?
I think it's like 3 years?
Okay.
Yeah, or 2 years even. But what they did, the original script, if you were 10 years old in 2010, they wrote it for you being 20 years old. Like they assumed the audience was going to grow with the movie. So they made this very mature, action-filled movie for people who were children when the first one came out. But then when they previewed it, they went, nope, we still have to write it for children today, not the children that have grown. Which is different than like Toy Story. Because Toy Story, it's written for the children who saw it the first time. You grow with Toy Story, right? By the time you get to Toy Story 3, you're a wreck.
Right, it's not for kids.
It's
Toy
not
Story
for kids.
4
It's for
Toy Story 4 is not for kids.
right. It's for the generation who watched Toy Story 1 as a kid.
Sure.
So they tried to do the same thing with Frozen 2. They made it about these mature tones. They didn't have a lot of kids songs. It was very dramatic. And then they previewed it and went, nope, that's not going to work because adults weren't going to see Frozen 2. It was people taking their kids to see Frozen 2. So that's why the movie is like they kept this very dramatic arc and had to like punch like holes in it of like funny characters and like songs. And in the end, I think it's a very fun movie to watch. But
it's gorgeous. All of those water effects they do and like the ice effects
are
gorgeous.
When you see Raya and the Last Dragon, oh man, you're gonna lose your mind at how gorgeous that movie is.
I can't wait till it's available for like normal people.
I know. I spent the money because I wanted Disney to make sure they knew I will spend the money.
Something people wanted. Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
I have kids. I spend this money. And you can look at my algorithm, Gil. I bought that movie 5 days ago. We've watched it 4 out of the 5 nights.
That's
because
great.
my sons love it. It's so good. And the messages are so wonderful.
Did you try and call Kelly Marie to try and get her to talk to the kids in Raya voice?
I was going to... So, for those who don't know, Kelly Marie Tran is the voice of Raya, the lead of the show. I took 101 with her. I was in an improv group with her and Christopher Bryant Smith, who's an amazing comedian. And I think we're in an improv like rehearsal team for like a month. Like you when you make friends and you're like, we're gonna pay extra money and go to a coach on Fridays and go in someone's living room and practice, right? Normal thing. So I think I was maybe a month, maybe 2 months, and I kept trying to figure out how to like tag her, like, thanks for this, my kids love it. But every time I wrote it out, I was like, you don't know her, it's weird. So I kept deleting it from my stories.
You know,
she
would super appreciate it.
I know.
I've chatted with her several times over the years.
Ugh.
Like, she's still Kelly Marie.
She's a sweetheart.
From the block. She's still Kelly. You know, send her an email. Just say, hey, you know, I don't know if you know, I have 5-year-olds, and they loved this, and they loved you in Star Wars.
I will.
Like,
they do love her in Star Wars. I should just do it. I just need to tag, because I mean, she doesn't post on Instagram, but she still has an Instagram account. Like,
why tag her? Send her a message. Be a human being and send her a message.
Oh, I always get so... You're right.
I get
It's right. Worst case, she just doesn't respond. That's the worst case, right? No, you're right.
She has responded every single time I've met. I have messaged her with, I mean, look, you know who I am as a human being. I have texted her since Star Wars came out and been like, hey, you want to do your late night? I'm like, yeah, I'll get one of the stars of Star Wars to to do your late night? Sure. I got the lead singer of NoFX to do it.
Oh, El Jefe. Is he
El
next?
Jefe, or the lead guitarist at least,
Yeah.
whatever he is.
Yeah.
I got Jerry Minor from Saturday Night Live
Yeah.
to do it. Got Alonzo Bowden to do it. So why not?
Why not? Why not? I should. I will just message her.
And you know what she has said each time? I'm not really doing live shows. Thanks for asking. And then the world kept spinning.
Right. Oh, I literally.
Perfectly polite.
Right, of course, yes. It's just, it's so interesting because I can't imagine a better movie right now for kids because, and I was talking to my husband about this earlier, and all the way, he's not a Disney fan. He could not go to Disneyland or watch a Disney movie and be fine with the rest of his life. But he loves this movie.
That doesn't make you not a Disney fan. I could also never go to Disneyland again, and I would say I'm a Disney fan. I enjoy a Disney movie.
But my husband doesn't enjoy Disney movies. He honestly
doesn't even enjoy them.
He won't put them on his own. He's not you know what I feel like watching? Star Wars. He doesn't have that. He's is there an 80s movie that I can watch? Is Steven Seagal? Okay. What Steven Seagal movie is available? His favorite movie is The Rock. That's his favorite movie. It's a fun movie, yeah. But it shouldn't be your favorite.
I think that's a Disney movie now, isn't it?
It might be. It might be a Disney movie. But my husband loves the movie. Loves it. Usually seeing a Disney movie twice in a row, my husband would be like, okay, guys, we need something else. He was like, nope, Raya, put it on. Put on Raya. It's so good. And it's also... It's so interesting. It shows that a woman can be a lead. It shows that a woman can be strong. It shows that a woman can be a warrior, a fighter. And that's such a different narrative than what I grew up with, right? I grew up with a redheaded mermaid telling me that I need to change who I am to fall in love. What? So I just think it's important that we're celebrating other cultures and living in it and watching it and seeing it on the mainstream and not just...
Oh my God, Allie, we get it. You're woke. You don't need to prove it to me, God.
It's gonna be on the YouTube, everybody. It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. It's very good. And I can't wait till everyone sees it because I get it. Not everyone wants to pay. I mean, I remember when Trolls came out and they were like, it's gonna cost $30, and I was like, I'm not paying $30 to watch Trolls 2. I will wait for Trolls 2. And then I waited and I was like, oh great, this is cute. But I was like, this one I'll pay for it. I'll pay. I got it. Oh man, this has been a fantastic conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Thanks for coming on. I look forward to Thursday nights. I really do.
I know.
And I know the window is, soon. We're so close. We're closer than we were 6 months ago.
It's crazy how close we actually are. And we're meeting and exceeding deadlines.
Yes. I mean, speaking of Disneyland, they have a date now, an opening date. That was a big sign of okay, we're going where we need to be going. Indoor dining is available. There's we're close. We're
I'm all vaxxed up.
You're vaxxed up. You got your second?
I got the Johnson & Johnson, one and done, baby.
No snaps. Go right, Johnson & Johnson. Yeah. You're making up for all that terrible baby powder you made us put on people's butts. Good for you, Johnson & Johnson.
Didn't we all get cancer from that?
Oh, we close. Got real close.
We got cancer from the Johnson & Johnson, ball powder.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Baby powder. It's not ball powder. It's baby powder. Are you?
Well, I didn't use it on a baby.
Oh.
I used it on future babies.
That's why it's called baby powder.
Yes, I used it to dry some things that probably I should have just used a towel for.
But it's not. I get it. I get baby powder. I get it. Johnson & Johnson. Yeah,
It smelled real good.
it did smell good. Do this. Powder up. Yeah. Powder.
But they're making up for it with the one and done vaccine.
Good for them. Maybe I'll buy some of their lotion. Maybe.
I would still be concerned about cancer.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Never mind.
Remember,
Yeah. I mean,
what was that joke that fucking Josh Hoover made this joke during we went over there to record, I think, his SNL audition, and one of his characters was like a bouncer outside of an all ages club or something.
Wait,
and he was like, put out those cigarettes. I'm not trying to catch cancer.
Oh, Josh Hoover, another good soul. I'm reading the chat right now. I haven't been reading it. It says, Little Mermaid teaches us the lesson 13-year-old girls should be seen and not heard. It's true. That's what they taught us. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Really terrible. Like.
Oh, thank God AC Improv is here.
I know. Oh, trying to hold it down.
Thank you for holding it down, AC.
Thank you, AC. Oh,
yeah,
man.
The one thing I want to promote is my show.
Yes.
Your late night show tonight.
That's
it's going to be Friday night this week. Friday night, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. Get your tickets now. Get your tickets immediatamente. It's so important to get those tickets early so that we know what we're doing and who's coming. The host is Ari Stidham from Scorpion and from so many cool LA theater things. Like, I don't know who went to see Solo Must Die, which was the Han Solo musical that he wrote. Han Solo Must Die. Did everyone see that? It was so funny.
I remember hearing about it, actually. I didn't realize that was him. That's very funny.
They did it at Packchilla one year.
Packchilla! Oh, I can't wait.
His guest is going to be Tina Majorino from Waterworld, from Napoleon Dynamite, from Andre, from Karina. I got to talk to her today on Clubhouse. She was so delightful.
Oh, I bet she's
so cool to talk to her.
She just looks like the sweetest person. Like, I'm looking at her photo right now, and she just looks so awesome.
Literally could not be nicer. Answered all my dumb Waterworld questions, of which I have many.
Of course.
Told so many fun stories about working with Dennis Hopper and how Dennis Hopper used to tell her super inappropriate stories when she was 8 years old.
I can see that.
Yeah, but it was charming. It wasn't cringy. It was charming.
Of course it was. Of course it was charming coming out of her.
Super charming. I mean, everyone has to check out this show. It's going to be so good. So that's what I want to tell you guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again, Gil, for coming on. I look forward to this every week. I really do. Ladies and gentlemen, it is about time to go. If you haven't already, you can always Venmo at the Pack Theater, Pack-Theater if you'd like. It's very nice for the Pack Theater to let me come on and just rant about Denny's. I did a rant about Denny's earlier.
No, I was here.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure everyone knew that I stand by that rant. Because I love Denny's. I'm going to go have Denny's right now. I'm not, but I could.
Have you and Hunter had a Denny's night?
No. I know, I should. We will. I have so many things I need to do in 2022. Like, just a list. Just a list of, like, just dumb things I'm going to do that I took for granted.
That's right. Next year in Jerusalem.
Yeah. All of it. All of
it. Next year in Jerusalem. Next year together, right?
All of it.
That's what we say during Passover time. We say next year in Jerusalem.
Next year in Jerusalem. I got it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're talking to somebody, a friend, a family member. And if you're available Thursdays at 10 p.m., please talk to me. Somebody is not asleep. That is my very loud child. Good night, everybody, and have a good night.